If you are tired of your Warzone game looking dull and boring and you're having trouble spotting enemies, or you're also getting bad performance, then this is the video for you. Now, I'm going to be covering the best way to make your game look significantly better without using NVIDIA filters. So whether you have a NVIDIA or an AMD graphics card, this will work for you. And for my console players, I will have some tips for you guys as well. Now, before we get to adjusting the color settings, let me really quick go through my recommended graphic settings so that you have the best balance between both performance and quality. So under the graphics tab, under display for display mode, technically full screen is the best for performance, but I do prefer borderless. That way I can go between my multiple monitors and I really have not noticed any performance hits. For your render resolution, make sure this is set to 100 and make sure this is set to whatever type of monitor you're using. I'm playing on 1440p. A lot of you will probably be on 1920 by 1080 though. Make sure to keep dynamic resolution off unless you're on a super low end PC. You can try enabling that. Aspect ratio will be automatic. Disable VSync unless you're getting a lot of screen tearing. Custom frame limit, I have it at custom with my gameplay to the max and both menu and out of focus down at 60 just to save some GPU usage. Brightness, this is going to be personal preference and also depend on your monitor or TV. I just keep mine at 50 and I ended up adjusting it later within my NVIDIA control panel. For display game, I keep this at 2.2 if you're on a monitor or 2.4 if you're on a TV. NVIDIA highlights I'd recommend disabling because that will impact your performance unless you are needing to use it for recording. And then for NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, if you have a NVIDIA card, you can enable this. I just keep mine on enabled and not enabled boost, although I really don't notice the difference between the two. Moving on to the quality tab, one thing I want to quickly say about field of view is that the wider your field of view is, the more this will negatively impact your performance. So if you are on a low-end PC, you might want to consider turning this down some. For camera movement, definitely keep this on least. Moving down to details and textures. For your texture resolution, I'd recommend going at normal if you have enough VRAM usage. Now, if you want the maximum performance or you're on a low-end PC, you can go low or very low. But the performance between very low and normal actually isn't that much, and the game will look significantly better on normal. Again, the same rule basically applies for texture, filter, anisotropic. Normal if you want it to look good, low for the absolute best performance. For particle quality, keep this on low. I keep my bullets, impacts, and sprays enabled. Although this does very little for performance, you can disable this and you will not see the sprays that your character can put. So this will prevent you from getting bamboozled by someone trying to spray the operator spray to make you shoot at it on the wall. For tessellation, keep this disabled. Gore effects actually does hurt your performance sometimes, so I'd recommend disabling it. On-demand texture streaming, I'd keep that disabled as well. And the post-processing effects, basically all of these are going to be on 0 or off, but I do have my anti-aliasing up from off to just the lowest setting at SMAA 1 times. This will make edges of objects not look so jagged, and it's a very minor performance hit. And I think it makes the game look a lot better. But again, if you want the maximum performance, just turn anti-aliasing off. And then for shadow and lighting, keep your shadow map resolution to low, but both of the caches enabled. And then the last 4 will be low or disabled. Now, one other thing I do want to talk about really quick is colorblind type. I do play on Deuteranopia. Personally, I think Deuteranopia makes the game look much better and more visually pleasing, even though I'm not colorblind. And then I have my colorblind target on world. Now let's get to the magic. Let's open up our NVIDIA control panel or the AMD equivalent. I can't recall exactly what that's called, but this process is going to be very similar. So from here, let's go down to the adjust desktop color settings tab. Make sure you have the monitor that you are playing on selected. And the main slider that's going to make the biggest difference here is going to be digital vibrance. Now, default, you should be on 50%. This is similar to saturation, but not quite. Basically, if we crank this all the way up, it's going to make the colors more vibrant and make them pop more. If we went all the way to 0, it would basically make your game black and white. I'd recommend somewhere between about 60 and 80. I like mine on the higher end towards 75, but you could also go for 100 if you want to make your game look very, very vibrant. Now with hue, you can make your game look really weird doing this, but I'd recommend staying somewhere between 0 and 10. 10 will make the game look a little bit more yellowy green. Personally, I think it's just fine on 0 though. Now this part is going to depend a lot on your monitor. I'd recommend turning up both your brightness and your contrast just slightly in here to your liking. Now, if you're on console and you're playing on a TV, this is where you can go into your TV or your monitor settings and you can adjust your brightness, contrast, saturation from there. Now, personally, I have these settings on my NVIDIA control panel, but also on my monitor. I have a Samsung G7 Odyssey 1440p monitor. On the monitor settings, I have the brightness and saturation both all the way up to 85, and I have my sharpness up to 60. Now, just FYI, if you stream or record, when you make those tweaks on the monitor or your TV itself, typically those don't go through to your stream or your recordings. So for myself, I added filters to my OBS to increase the saturation there. And basically what I did was I tweaked those filters on my stream to basically match to what I see on my monitor. So for those interested, I put the sharpen filter on OBS to 0.02. And then for the color correction filter, I turned the brightness down to -0.01 and the saturation up to 0.25. But again, this is totally personal preference, and that only matters if you're streaming or recording. Now, once you've got your desktop color settings, go down to adjust video color settings. Make sure you're on your monitor and it's checked with the NVIDIA settings, then go to advanced and make sure you change your dynamic range from limited to full. Now, if you're on an AMD graphics card, the process of this is going to be similar. It's just going to have different names and different icons, but again, the process is very similar of just adjusting those color settings. Now, really quick for my people that are on NVIDIA graphics cards, under the manage 3D settings, I'm gonna give you guys my recommended control panel settings that I got from a professional that knows way more about graphics than me. So I'm just gonna quickly scroll through here. Feel free to pause the video so that you can copy these so that you have the best settings for both performance and quality. And there you have it, guys. That is it. It is a pretty simple process. I hope you found this video helpful, and I hope this makes your game look way better than before without hurting the performance of your game. If you found the video helpful, please leave a like. If you want a bunch more settings videos and also a ton of Warzone loadouts and Warzone gameplay, consider subscribing. I do stream here live on YouTube. If you want to come by and check it out, feel free to ask me comments in the comment section. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day.